to see which one they do choose to go after.
Yeah, I want to see if we ever get like Nidalee, Orianna, and Shyvana all removed in a champion select once, and you remove like the top 3 from that team. Right now, though, the Ziggs dropped away from Bishu. He's not going to get that one. We saw Ziggs banned all 3 games last series too, so gotta see what else comes through. Snoopy's Kha'Zix removed away. I want to know what C9T actually kind of puts their ban priorities onto, like what they respect, what they want to have to not deal with.
Well, first answer will be Kha'Zix. So junglers, all around junglers. They're targeting Snoopy. Snoopy now, he plays a ridiculous number of champions, but they're trying to force him onto the weirder ones, the less common picks, I guess. So interesting strat here from Cloud9 Tempest. They're trying to make Snoopy play those Volibear picks and those off-meta picks for his jungle.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We haven't seen Evil Geniuses play on 4.5 patch ROM right now, so we actually haven't even seen Snoopy play a Feral Flare jungler in professional play yet. So I do want to know what comes through. At least also banned away, while EG just kind of skimmed off the top. They removed 1 champion from each person's pool and said, all right, well, all the AD carries are up. All of Kez's junglers are up, but they didn't ban.
Yeah, so much more general focus, or lack of focus here from the bans. They did, however, leave up Jax, who has been a very, very quick first pick for many teams, and immediately taking Soraka and Evelynn in return. So a nice exchange of very high priority picks in the first 2 sessions here. Both teams very quick to lock those in. And it's interesting because they'll have a stronger split push if you have that late game with Jax. But the team fighting of Soraka right now is ridiculous, especially with multiple teams running 3 heals or even 4 heals sometimes on their team. This is the 4.5 where the heals can actually stack without being reduced.
It's true, so we'll see how well Cloud9 Tempest can deal with that. The thing is, I feel like a champion like Jax has so much persistent damage that you heal stack and he kills you anyway. So I think that's still a very important focus for these guys in C9T. But the Karma picked up, maybe for Kreppel, maybe for Pobelter. We have seen mid Karma before, so a bit of a flex pick actually right now. But Yellow Peak gets the top 80 carry in Lucian.
Yeah. It's a pretty aggressive lane. They will have to worry about Evelynn constantly, though. And I guess Nidalee actually makes it really far through here. They talked about the limited champion pools and focusing on them. But then, as we said, they had very generalist bans.
Yeah. Well, I look at the EG's picks, though, so far, and it seems like a team that would be able to deal with getting into the back line for Nidalee. That said, Soraka's been picked up, which is the likely mid lane pick in the first place.
It's also really strong top, though, so could go to either solo lane. It's still a flex pick.
And if you're Kreppel, you play support.
Yeah, there you go. Could easily go to any of the lanes.
All right. Not the case, though. Aurelia going to match up top lane against the Jax here. So 2 late game carries shut us in the top lane. I do want to see how that matchup plays out.
Yeah, interesting. Aurelia is kind of considered the lesser of the 2 as we do get towards the late game. We'll have to see how Yuzuki can actually handle him, because Yuzuki is shown a penchant for going back to Shyvana over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But he definitely has expanded his champion pool, and he wants to play an assassin as well. So we won't have one extremely strong tank. Most of the defensive stats will be coming actually from their mid laners with the Orianna shield and with the Soraka heals.
And yeah, you've even got Karma support for the further shielding on top of that one. You've got damage blocking, so
yeah,
see just how the rest of
all shields on EG, all heals on Cloud9.
Well, we gotta wait the last 35 seconds then for C9T to actually make their final choice. Is it Soraka mid? He's gonna go down to the bottom lane of this one, of course. The full lineup here for EG. There's so much protection there for Inox. And you got Snoopy on Pantheon, who can just gank top lane, I think, very effectively. You've got a targeted stun, a lot of damage comes out there. The follow-up with Jax's stun. I'd be worried if I were Yuzuki.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see where he actually decides to go with those Pantheon ults, because the bottom lane has been pointed out over and over again as carrying very hard for Cloud9. And Pantheon is amazing at ganking bottom lanes. So we'll have to see if they actually try and focus on the bottom lane and keep Altec from getting out of control.
That seems to be the emphasis here for C9T. You saw Glebe on your screen like the entire 60 seconds going back and forth, like, do we want Nami, do we want Thresh, talking it over, saying what matchup is best here. Corki Thresh is the lane they want to go for, and that to be is the lane C9T needs to play. to make this lane dominant.
Yeah, and I like the Thresh pick because if they do feel like Pantheon's going to be ulting bottom, then all they have to do is have lead play further back. Corki can CS with Rockets post level 6 very easily, and if Thresh is playing further back, then they'll have that Lantern. Even if the Pantheon ult does come in, should be pretty easily escaped.
There's one thing actually about the matchup I do want to talk about, though, and this is something I've heard from some of my pro support friends, is if you are Karma facing a Thresh, if he goes for hook, just empowered Q him, and you will guaranteed hit both parts of it. As long as you can dodge the hook, you're safe.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't see a lot of extended 2v2 laning phase, so probably be seeing some mix-up.
We'll see what the mix ends up being as the game goes live. Let's count the votes over at lolesports.com. With 53% of the vote, you're tipping this in Cloud9 Tempest's favor.
What a close one.
Yeah, seriously. But remember, you can also send your real-time predictions with each twist and turn of the games.
Yeah, tweet us at LOL Esports and use the hashtag EGWin or C9TWin.
We'll see as the games go on what happens here, because it's interesting because this is such a... I feel like it's very reminiscent of the last promotion tournament for Evil Geniuses, where they came in, to me, as fan vote underdogs, and just kind of the scene kind of saw them as underdogs, because it was arguably the weaker members of the old EG lineup, some new guys that hadn't been tested a lot in competitive.
They were having a hard time in scrims.
And they were having a horrible time in scrims, right? And so here they're having like a horrible time in the LCS, but do they turn it on in the last week and beat the sort of favorites that are going to be challenging them?
Yeah, never know. Last time promotion tournament, they went 3-0.
True. We'll see just how clutch these guys are. Getting ourselves now into game one. Evil Geniuses fighting to hold on to their LCS spot in this best of 5. We'll see them in the summer, and might even see them at Worlds if they turn this one around and start playing well.
Crepo not going for extra gold to get the normal ward here. No green ward for him for the early level 1 invade.
Yeah, it's just a 4 potion start. He's like all about brawling.
So he still has the gold.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get more sustain.
Yep. He's really hungry. He's got a lot of biscuits. He didn't have breakfast, maybe? Making up for it now. We're going to see the pings come out. Looks like Evil Geniuses are lurking down on the bottom side of the map. Pretty much the same for C9T, actually.
Mm-hmm. And they have defensively warded their blue, so C9T will know that they can easily go for the exchange of buffs, and it should be that now standard swap of AD carry up top for the red side. So we will not see that Thresh versus Karma early matchup. Karma, though, she still has a lot, very high impact early on. And she's been able to start with that Spelthy's Edge, so it does give you extra damage on the turret, whereas Thresh doesn't really benefit from AP that much, so we almost never see him starting that item. Opting for the Targons, which will help a little bit in the push. Doesn't execute since he's ranged, but it could heal somebody up.
Yeah. Could mean a little bit. Also means you don't have to worry about like stealing minions away, so a little more auto attack uptime for what it's worth. Here comes a late invade for EG, though. They're going to check the brush. They walk right on through. C9T, the exact same plan for these guys, but Cloud and Tempest will not walk through a ward on this trade.
And they get sight of EG, so everyone can feel comfortable now that they have not been surprised by the dark level 1s.
So we're going to start the game off with a standard lane swap situation there. The double jungle going in, that's also pretty much standard at this point. Yuzuki and Kaz actually leave one of the little pieces of that blue buff up.
Yeah, I like that a lot more than the teams that are doing the full clear, because as we said yesterday, if you just leave that one baby, it's so long before the other jungler goes to check their buff that you can delay the second spawn of the blue buff for your opponents by a good 5 minutes on most cases.
So now we got to see what the move happens. Looks like we're going to have the second wave being pushed up 4v0 for both sides. Bishu versus Pobalter, though, in the mid lane, I got to say, working a little bit better for the C9T mid laner. You're seeing Pobalter forced back a little bit. We've heard a lot of people say that Soraka does not have a good time against Orianna in this 1v1 matchup, but...
So it's not that big of a deal for her. It's not like it's a bad matchup, but it is one of the champions that can deal with her. So it's not someone who's going to get rolled over by Soraka, and they will be left alone for a while. So we can get a good litmus test here to see exactly how the early levels should play out. So far, Soraka's still doing her bully thing and pushing Pobelter into the turret.
It's also going to be a good test to see, because it's a best of 5, and you know that these players will be facing each other multiple times today, is which which player outperforms the other? Just in general, right? Is Bijou having a better day or is Pobo having a better day? Can a team trust on one of these players to win their matchup consistently? Right now it's a small minion lead to Bijou, but I do want to see how they actually start fighting. Second tier turret's about to be going down. Looks like some recalls early on by EG.
It's going to be hard for them. They're going to have to tank some turret hits here.
Shouldn't be too
one.
bad.
Not some, just one.
Does one count as some? Would that be under the umbrella? Like the classification?
Nope.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it's up to you, dude. Like, I'm just asking here.
Regular swaps here, though. The only difference, really, is EG dropping 2 wards on their exit. Doesn't look like the lane ward was placed for Cloud9 Tempest, but they did drop one in the jungle. So they'll see when someone goes to clear that blue buff, and they can time it when they see someone venture into that pot. I really like that. So even though they left up that baby, there's no drawback for them. They'll still get the timer of the respawn. The respawn's just going to be much later.
Oh, that's a great choice for these guys. So, you got a small 200 gold lead right now for Evil Geniuses. They've managed to grab more minions overall in that push game. I got to say the inclusion of Krepo Spell Thief's Edge, I think, is a small part of that one. Kez clearing his red buff right now. 4 minutes 45 in. He'll have that respawning around 9 to 10 minutes into the game. Bijou Pobo are actually going a lot more equal. You're seeing the Orianna actually get some harassed into the matchup, so it seems to have equalized enough that they've both gotten a few levels.
Yeah, that gold lead for the Spell Thieves are talking about. In the push, Glebe only got to get 3 executes down. Now he's got 4, but didn't get to gain too much from that Targon early on. Kez making an early move to the towerless Jax. And the red buff Evelynn should be enough here. He might be able to get a summoner spell out of him. Nice minion wave to work with, though. Interesting that we don't see EG trying to work with that big minion wave. Like a lot of other teams have sent multiple people up there to try and push with it. Just 2 junglers here are going to fight.
Snoopy comes in, though, just runs right into 2. Flash the way, flash in by Kez, but gets stunned up by Jax, and he goes down. First blood goes to Inox, and EG fire first.
All right, Inox is able to get a red buff as well, and now they do get to do something with this giant wave because Yuzuki took a lot of damage in the trade as well. So not only did they get a kill for first blood, but they're going to get another one.
Stun comes in, Inox has aggro, and Snoopy grabs the second kill. Inox flashes away 2-0 and turret pressure for EG.
So the entire wave here plus cannon minion going to work on this turret. This is ginormous for EG. This is an amazing start for them. Cloud9 tried to get the jump on Snoopy. They thought they would have the advantage, but we can see the power of that counter-strike of Jax. A 2-man stun, so much more effective than the Aurelia. I think it was just a slow because she wasn't even lower HP. Great brawling up top for EG.
I was a little bit surprised that C9T overcommitted for that one too.
Yeah.
They dove right into that stun.
Well, generally in those 2v2 situations, if you get the jump on someone and it's the jungler alone like that, you get a huge advantage because they were able to chunk him out so low so quick.
Yeah.
But then Jax coming in, plus backed by a giant minion wave. It's pretty much all Inox there.
So we are back to the standard matchups into this point. Of course, a small lead for Evil Geniuses thanks to those kills, but 2v2 bot lane, 1v1 top. You start watching these matchups pan out right there. Looks like level 5 for both AD carries and 4 for both supports means it's a fair fight.
Ooh, Altec taking some good poke here. And yeah, he is a little bit behind. The EG bottom lane holding up pretty strong here. They also have the turret advantage down in the bottom lane. So even though they have to worry about an Evelynn, at least they know they have some defensive structure to fall back to.
Right now that Evelynn is going to be on the bottom side of the map. The blue buff is spawning right now and will go over to Bijou, but that might free Kez up for some ganks. Problem is EG will know he's bottom side because Bijou just shows up with a blue buff in mid lane.
This is a really bad situation up top for Yuzuki. It wasn't just that the first blood and the red buff, but also the 2 waves that he lost. He had to use his teleport, so Jax has the teleport advantage on him now. This should probably swing pretty heavily in Inox's favor. This is exactly what EG want. They want to get their solo lanes running early so that they can carry the game, and this has been the story for them. We'll see if Inox can keep it up without getting caught off guard by this Evelynn. Since Yuzuki is now going to usually be sitting at lower health, he will be able to set up a stun. Jax, though, he can get out of control very quickly, and take on multiple people, since Evelyn is behind as well.
Yeah, speaking of where Evelyn was and her being behind around, I've seen Snoopy spend most of his time in this mid game looking for counter ganks more than anything else. Right now, he's pushing the mid lane, getting a lot of damage down on this turret. Kez coming in from the side is level 6. Got to be worried about the fact that Inox can TP in, though.
So both of the outer turrets right now are about to fall for C9T. They are both extremely low, and it's really up to them to make a move. They're trying to make it top. We might see that 2 versus 1 go on, and it would go especially bad if Kez got caught out away from Aurelia.
You're seeing how afraid he is of the fact that Pantheon might be level 6 and jump on him, so he backs right off. C9T getting a couple of pink wards down. Looks like both these teams starting to try to control the dragon area. Believe we'll get rid of this pink ward here, and we'll see. Again, you've still got about 30 seconds until teleports back up for Yuzuki, but that might be enough for C9T to fight. Problem is that squad is behind in kills right now, behind in gold. It's risky to go for a fight when you're down.
Snoopy trying to get level 6 off the white, and he does get it. So now he's in position to counter gank both lanes just by being on that side of the jungle. He could help out wherever Evelyn decided to go.
And there were 4, now there's only 3, but there's 3 pink wards down right now for Evil Geniuses, watching top lane, watching the upper river, as well as an area of, kind of flanking the bottom lane as well. So there's not a lot of places that Kez can go without being seen.
Trying to take his red buff right now. We'll see where he tries to go after that, because once again, Snoopy has set up a counter gank. He has to go back to base. This might be a dive up top, actually. Pantheon very strong at tower diving. Okay, they're just going to go the safe route. They do get both of those turrets we were talking about being extremely low, and that's a big influx of gold for the entire team of EG. Plus, they can rotate down to Dragon after they buy.
So 2,700 gold lead for these guys. They've got a few hundred gold in their pockets. 1,700 gold on Inox. So he's actually right about at Blade of the Ruin King. He'll probably stay for one more wave, and that'll give him the pickup. But that'll be an 11-minute Ruin King. He's like ludicrously fast.
Yeah, Inox is pretty strong right now. He's going to have to deal with Evelyn for the moment, though. Still has plenty of summoners to get away. Because he created such a big wave up top, there's a lot of pressure for EG down on the bottom side. Because Yuzuki's stuck up there and Kez is also hovering around top, they can move on the dragon pretty easily. All the outer turrets are down. All really that EG need is a line of wards in the jungle, and they will be pretty safe at it. Snoopy walks right through that pink ward.
Shows no fear.
He's gonna leave it for Poe Belter. Evelyn making her way down, though. It's gonna be pretty late.
Now, teleport is available for Yuzuki, but looks like C9T not going to stop this one. Evil Geniuses claimed themselves a dragon from their early game lead.
And this is going very poorly for C9 because they want to make use of that Soraka for those team fights, for those brawls. The 4-man brawl this time would normally be a great thing for this team. However, all the outer turrets going down so early and top lane having such a terrible start meant that they cannot contest that. They're outnumbered and they're outgunned.
Yeah, especially when you got Yellow Pete. He's got 2. Corky's only got 1. That's completely brutal here in this bottom lane. Looks like Kez, though, going to try to sneak his way down. Can C9T force it again? Pantheon's on the correct side of the map to turn it around. Ward goes down, not going to spot anything. Kez is invisible.
Yeah, Evelyn is such a snowbally jungler. It's hard for him to get back into a game if he has a start as bad as that. But a double kill would definitely be just what the doctor ordered for Cloud9. You can see they really, really wanted this. And they were trying to force so long that Snoopy actually coming down to counter gank once again.
Yeah, he's been really trying to guess where Evelyn would be. Puts a pink cord down, is going to help spot these out. Blue F now under control for Evil Geniuses. Got 4 members for both teams around here. Both teleports still available as well.
Yeah, if both those teleports come in, it's still a huge advantage for EG.
Here comes the Pantheon drop. Here comes the jump in, and Yellow Pete. Big burst comes out, but a shockwave turns it around. Bijou spams the heals out. Kill comes over onto Crepo, but Kez goes down to Inox. Inox down to half HP. Bijou chased out. Now Alta got a bad spot as well. The kills going all the way for EG right now. Glebe forced to run. Yuzuki trying to now run away with a stun up there. The hook goes into Snoopy, but 4 for 2 to Evil Geniuses. Will they grab the 5th? Glebe trying to run. Flash slow. Doesn't get the knockback. Ace for Evil Geniuses.
Great job for snowballing right there, EG. Now they've got complete control of the map as well. That blue buff they were coming over to contest will easily be theirs. Now this, even though it's a bit behind the fight, it doesn't matter because EG had such a good shockwave that they were able to lock them up for long enough. Yuzuki does go in the back and get the 1 kill, but Altec was sandwiched between the 2 melee carries there from EG. And since Inox had that early Blade of the Ruin King, there's no escape for Altec.
This is the second time now we've seen game 1. Team fights for a buff, walks into a shockwave, and it becomes a landslide team fight. There's a little bit of a lack of respect for the Oriannas right now, and you've seen now 0-0-5 for Pobelter, right? Had a hand in every single kill in that fight. Had a really good showing. People said that EG, their soul lanes were important. You've got a 4-0-3 Jax.
And as good as Soraka is at team fighting, Orianna is just as good if you hit the skill shot. It's just harder to play Ori in a team fight, but she can have just, if not bigger, of an impact.
So, Snoopy gonna clear away the mid lane wave. Looks like Evil Genius is doing some quick housekeeping. And we're gonna see now when Cloud9 Tempest makes their next move, how long they have to lick their wounds, or if they can find a pick or something.
Look at the wards coming out from EG. Everybody filling up on pinks and greens. And they're switching over to all their sweepers now. They know that they have a big lead in this game, and they want to finish it. This has been one of the big problems for EG in the LCS. Finishing out games, even when they did manage to get a lead. Looks like they have come up with a clear plan, and that plan is dominate the map with vision.
Yes. We blast ending with a Q. Make sure you got the cannon on this one. Red buff. Ooh, that might have... Nope. Kez will be okay. Turn back to make sure you cleared the camp. But Evil Genius is now. Look at that deep pink ward right there at the front of the red buff. Trinket ward down there watching on top of that one as well. Yuzuki also gets spotted out. Like EG, they own this jungle.
They own the entire map right now. And they always have to be worried, or Cloud9 always have to be worried about the ult from Pantheon. EG can pick someone off from half a screen away. They can pick somebody off from 3 screens away, actually.
Pantheon. Yeah. Snoopy goes in, looks for Yuzuki. Good damage comes in. No hook lands from Glebe.
Through the passive and the shield, Snoopy barely takes 75 damage right there from multiple tower hits.
Gotta be worried about that one. 70 health adds up over time. One more shot would be 140. Yeah.
Good job, Free.
Thanks.
Where's your calculator? You're cheating.
Up in my head, I got this. Mid lane second tier turret's gonna be going down though. Inox chunks it down with the most satisfying sound in the world. The flap of Jax makes it 5 turrets to 2 here. EG rotating back to the top of the jungle. Sweepers come out to make sure there's no wards watching these movements, and truthfully, Evil Geniuses, they see all this and barely ever get revealed.
I mean, it was just such an expert snowball that they did from the 2 kills that they got up top, denying so much from Yuzuki and Kez. They rendered this Evelynn completely ineffective, not able to do anything for the entire rest of the game. And here comes the dive.
All right, turret goes down. Here comes the battle. Stun goes in onto Bijou. He's got nowhere to go. Heals back up, but a 4-man shockwave. 1 for 0 so far. EG, back away.
They got their kill. They got their turret. Job well done for EG right there. Mission accomplished. They've got all the outer turrets. Now for the final challenge, though. The hardest challenge, getting inside the base. They have such great ward coverage that they have the opportunity to bait around Baron, but it's only 17 minutes in. They aren't that strong right now compared to Baron. Comparatively, Baron will do a tremendous amount of damage to the EG team, and if they tried to go for it, that would be a great step for Cloud9, an option for them to get back in this game. If they could get some sort of miracle steal or sandwiching EG inside that Baron pit, that would be just what Cloud9 would like.
Well, we'll see if C9T can get the ward done that they need. They did sweep away 1 pink ward near the Baron area. They've got a trinket ward inside the pit itself. EG, though, going to take their time with this one. 18 minutes in, they go for the Dragon. Yellow Pete, not really in danger just yet, but looks like C9T not going to contest anyway, so no big threat here, just more gold. Right now, we're 7,000 gold up for Evil Geniuses. It's almost a 30% gold lead over Cloud9 Tempest. Going to be jumped up now. 930 gold Dragon comes through.
Yeah, complete domination so far here from EG. And they aren't letting up. So this is actually the crucial moment. After they get blue buff, They need to keep this pressure up. They have such a huge lead right now that they can take advantage, and they could even go for another dive, honestly, with Pantheon ult coming right back up.
Something to watch for, certainly. EG haven't been afraid to dive whatsoever. They're getting tankier and tankier. Giant's Belt here for Snoopy is going to make that nice. Trinity Force nearly done for Inox. No upgraded boots, but who cares? But certainly EG have done so much to take control of the game early on. Like, we're 19 minutes in, and you're down to inhibitor turrets already.
Yeah, this is the phase of the game, though, where they get a little skittish. They're like, do we want to actually pull this trigger and go for a dive? Are we going to try the split push to end it out? Or do we do the dangerous Baron bait? All of these options are fairly scary, even though they're so far ahead right now. Just because if you go for a dive, you have to get through a Soraka and a Thresh. That's extremely scary to dive through.
You think about it, a few weeks ago, these guys were playing against XDG in a game that started out this strong. And they just waited out and said, we'll just control the jungle and keep going up in gold. And they took a 45, 50-minute game, but every step of the way, it was measured. It said, this is a guaranteed advantage. We'll snowball farther. And they waited till the tanks got tanky enough to dive turrets.
Yeah, basically they just cut off the supply lines for Cloud9 Tempest. There's no income for them aside from the minions that do get all the way to the base. The entire rest of the map should be covered by EG. And C9T are doing their best to fight back in the Vision game, getting as many wards down as possible. They've actually cleared out a decent amount on the red side here, but EG just return once again, and Jax splitting down bottom is just going to get even scarier. He already has the combo, Blade plus Trinity Force. He can annihilate not just any person that C9T send, probably any 2 people that they send.
Yeah. 3 depending on who you send as well. Like, I'm just like thinking, like, what are the combos that would be easiest for him to fight against? Inox, super scary, of course, overall. Yellow Pete gets himself the red buff. This one safely.
The old Baron bait. They're going with the safest route, not taking any damage from Baron, not trying to do a tower dive, just splitting and doing a Baron bait here. Without Jax, though, they don't really have much threat of doing that Baron because it's so early, and C9T know that they would take a lot of damage if they were in Baron, so they're being very cautious.
Look for Kez. Kez gets a lantern. Ironic that a Lady of the Shadows uses a lantern to save her life. Counterproductive.
And that Lucian was firing light bullets, I guess,
yeah,
at her. All right, so now that gives them, because the lantern's down, they're going for the Baron. They do have good ward coverage, and it's going down really quickly. Jax has not started his teleport. They don't see anyone except Lead right now.
Ward comes down, right. Kez
is available.
Now there's no other wards available right now. Pink ward comes down. Kez gonna drop fast to the culling. Oh my gosh! The wish comes out, but he doesn't hit him enough anyway.
Jax is in. Jax is in. They're gonna finish off the Baron. They're committing to the Baron now.
More wards come through though. Kez flashes over, pops the ulti. The spike comes in. Kez gets it, but he goes down.
The rest of them have to back out.
Lee runs through the box. Man drop comes in for the flank. This is not good for Cloud9 Tempest. 2 for 0 so far. Snoopy will tank up. Yazuki gets 1 kill back. Jump over by Inox. He's going to get Bishu down 3 for 1. The fight continues. Yazuki and Altek forced to run.
They're on the wrong side of the map, but a 3 for 1 plus Baron is great for Cloud9. They will take that trade. Even if they do end up losing an inhibitor turret, they got some of the money that they needed back, and they got some kills that gave them bonus experience.
Well, the bottom lane is going to get pushed in, though. No one's going to be there to stop this one. This will be inhibitor turret number 1 going down. Yazuki far in the back lines, waiting to flank. Kez walks towards the front. EG are a little bit low here.
Ooh,
is C9T gets a good fight. No, they counter engage on towards Kez. He goes down. 1 for 0. Snoopy, the rocket's going to miss, but there comes Yazuki. He finds 1. They go in towards Yellow Pete. Hook will miss, but there's 2. Can they keep going? Distance slows down. Inox.
Ooh.
Not gonna take any more shots. So
need to chase.
Another 2 for 1 on top of a 3 for 1. 3 to 4 in kills. Baron for a turret.
Painful game here for Kez as well. Following too closely there. It's always an wow, that's fun to watch. It's always an extremely dangerous game to play when you're trying to keep sight of an enemy. Yes, Yazuki was flanking in from the back, but you have to be wary of the crowd control that EG are still packing while they're walking away. Kez gets annihilated, but they get 2 kills for it.
Yeah.
Stalled them long enough.
Yeah.
Yazuki would have been able to stall them, though. He was coming in from the back.
The interesting thing for me is, like, you talk about how unfortunate it's been for Kez right there. He's got a Giants belt as his tank items. We're 23 minutes in. The team barely has any kills. Like, you are not taking as a jungler this early normally. Walking headfirst into a fight is not a normal thing for a jungler that early in the game. But, you know, had to do it, of course, start the fight out. Squishy Man did drop down. But now we're within 6,000 gold.
C9T. Got a turret back.
Yeah.
That's just great.
C9T.
Cloud9.
Yeah, that Baron steal turned all of that as a possibility.
They still have to be really careful, though, because they don't have any deep vision, and there's still a Pantheon on the other team. We saw already, after they got the steal, the exit path was cut off by Snoop in a great Grand Skyfall. Same thing, still has to be worrying Cloud9 Tempest. When they venture too far out onto the map like this, the guaranteed engage from EG will be there. Dragon bait.
Smite's down. Kez had to use that to secure the blue buff, so Evil Genius has rushed this down.
Should not even be here watching then. Without Smite, there's no point in going over to see that dragon come down.
So mid lane gets pushed out. There's still a Baron buff for a minute on 2 members of Cloud9 Tempest. Evil Geniuses are going to contest for the mid lane, though. They clear the minions successfully. C9T is still a little bit gun shy here. 8,000 gold, the deficit. Evil Geniuses still, despite losing the Baron, doing a pretty good job. And I got a comment, 6-0 and 6 Inox. The dude is like putting the game on his back.
He had a strong start, let's say.
A little bit.
So yeah, I would definitely expect Jax to be at this point, considering the beginning of this game. He's very happy with how it's turned out. However, EG opting for the Baron bait as their solution to the standoff with the inhibitor turrets. It did afford them cracking the egg, though. They got 1 inhibitor turret down. So next time they want to force a fight, they will be able to go to the exposed inhibitor.
And that's the inhibitor you want as well. It's far from Baron. If you want to defend that, you've got to be as far away from that objective as possible, which gives EG even more room to play a Baron bait if they can just get the spike this time.
Plus, I always love having side lane inhibitors down because those lanes of minions will actually take a Nexus turret by themselves if left unattended. But the middle lane, since it goes and both Nexus turrets shoot the minions at the same time, then they can actually defend themselves.
Yeah. Well, EG are going to pressure the bottom lane. Baron buff has easily worn off by this point. And the exposed inhibitor will be the target. Yellow Pete successfully kills that ward off, but this time gets that one too.
Poe Belter able to pick up the slack when Yellow Pete can't use his passive again.
Didn't want to use his dash. I think it's smart to not waste the cooldown for a ward.
Yeah.
But here's the inhibitor starting to take fire, down about 1/4 health. Inox has the shield occasionally. Also getting mana.
Looking for the initiate. He does not have a good flanking position, though. He would, again, have to go through the front line to try and get his ulti down on the back line. And we've seen how poorly that does turn out for him.
And there's a big minion wave top side as well. It's going to stack up right in front of the turret. I think it's actually going to start dying just slightly out of turret range, but EG, again, losing minions in Cloud9 Tempest.
They're stalling here, but it's still an exposed inhibitor. They're not gaining anything back. All they're doing is losing some health on the top turret here.
It's barely losing anything. There's a minion wave that showed up just in time to tank most of it. It will do a bit of damage, but it's mostly lost gold and XP. EG still waiting for wave number 4 in this one, but just gets cleared so fast by Soraka Corki. EG basically all they're doing is denying the minion waves. And you know, they're preventing gold from being picked up by C9T in that top lane.
Well, the thing is, both teams are in this bottom lane, so both teams are getting 1 lane worth of experience in gold right now.
Yeah.
They've got good wards behind them as well. Look at the pink wards from EG placed behind them, so if Kez goes for a flank all the way around the back, then EG will see him coming and not be caught off guard.
Well, this inhibitor is gonna go down, though. EG, wear it out. No ulti in from Kez. Evil Geniuses just earned themselves, slowly but surely, the inhibitor.
So this game will extend for quite a while here. C9T probably going to play extremely defensively inside their base. And EG, from the way that they've been acting, I don't see them going for one of those strong moves before another Baron fight comes down. So we'll have to see what the teams do around the purple worm again. Nobody actually has very good vision at this moment. So this should be a moment where C9T jump on the opportunity to get a ward down inside Baron.
We'll see if they do it. So far, no vision at all on the top side of the map. Everyone's been stuck on that eastern side for a good long time because of that siege. So wards are completely canceled out. The map is basically dark. EG get there first. Looks like Pobelzer.
Kez says, you merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it. Able to walk through by Baron.
Well, we'll see if Kez can be the bane of evil geniuses here. Wards come down. Yellow Pete sweeps that one away.
Split push Jax doing his job. He's going to shove that minion wave right up to that Nexus turret.
With a dead inhib as well. So this is going to be
the classic choice that C9T are going to have to make. To Baron or to defend our Nexus turret.
Well, right now that's going to be on Yuzuki. We'll see if he can land the stun if Inox tries to TP away. To be fair, a lot of EG's gold is on this Jax, so if both top laners are kind of occupied, it's slightly better for C9T than you would expect, though still an EG lead in the fight anyway. Inox going to make his way back to the mid lane to join his team while Yuzuki holds this line. And the blue is going to get stolen away rather successfully. Inox going to get a nice bit of extra mana and cooldown reduction. Should make bullying even easier for him. Randuin's Omen is done, so he's a full completed item above Yuzuki's Aurelia.
Also, a Randuin's on Snoop, and Pantheon, with that much armor and a passive, already can take several tower hits. So the threat of a tower dive is becoming even more real every second for EG. They don't have to choose Baron to end this game. The tower dive options will always be there.
And Inox now has 2 pink wards to watch for Evelynn rotates. He's got one for the left side by the blue buff. He's got one in his back inside a brush. So no easy flanks for Kez.
Still looking for the baits here, EG. Yuzuki cannot afford to extend out into lane, by the way. He has to rely on turrets for defense. There's no way he can handle Inox in a 1v1.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit dangerous. The turret is helping Cloud9 Tempest's cause out a little bit here. Yuzuki's got to be worried that his minions are getting thinned out, and it's actually kind of pulling in multiple minion waves actually from the Nexus, and now here comes the push. EG going in towards Baron, half HP, but they pull out right away when Cloud9 Tempest realizes. They're just kind of buying time for Inox to survive the split push and make it start going in. There's a mid lane actually of minions going right up to the turret right now that's not getting defended.
Yeah, Inox, he can actually farm 2 waves at once now that he's so deep in the base. So the rest of EG just have to be very careful not to let the same situation happen again. As long as they don't let C9T steal another Baron, they should gain advantage on that mid lane turret.
Wards almost being swept out there. Cloud9 Tempest forced to back away once more. Remember that Krepo and Pobelzer have really good catch potential there on the back of Snoopy, so there is some threat there of crowd control. Bottom inhibitor will be respawning soon, but Evil Genius once again get Baron down below half HP. Ward swept away, and inhibitor is back up, and here comes the teleport and the man drop.
And
the fight's going to begin. Glebe puts the box down and runs away with a double man stun. Glebe goes down 2. Only one so far. Now Kez falls. 2 kills so far going over to Pobelzer. Yuzuki up on the backside, looks for Inox, can't find it, the heals. The stun comes in as well. 3 for 0 EG. Altec forced to run.
All right, EG finally pulled the trigger, baited Cloud9 in long enough, but Altec can give just as good as he gets here and chases off Snoop. Now they can return to the Baron. There's no threat of the Smite Steal, and they should be able to get Baron number 2, which will allow them to recall and make their final push.
It's a 9,000 gold lead right now. It's going to grow larger when Baron goes down to about 10 on this one. EG going to do the formalities here, hitting it in the face. But it will fall over right now. C9T just doing the defense to keep their base alive from the minions, but here we go. What could be the last recall for EG.
So yeah, let's take another look at the bait. They finally got Cloud9 Tempest to come into the river. Exactly what they're waiting for, and they pull the trigger. Snoop plus Inox at the same time jumping in, and they land the double stun there. Another great Counter-Strike from Inox. He also had his Counter-Strike back up in time for Yuzuki when he gets baited in. Cloud9 though, they're still fighting, trying to get the consolation prize. They get global gold there from Dragon, trying to hold on.
They bring it 1,000 back. They're still down 9k on this one.
They gotta be careful showing deep in lane like this.
Yeah.
Pantheon at this level, not that long of a cooldown on his ulti. So they have to be very wary of that same situation happening again. They are not they do not have flashes available this time. So a Pantheon ult will be very easy to land.
So here we go. What is the siege location for EG? Right now, it's the bottom inhibitor for attempt to number 3. This time with the Baron buff should make it even easier for these guys.
Oh yeah. And after that, they'll probably be going for a dive.
Guardian Angel also done on Inox, so there's a lot of dive ability for these guys. You already talked about Snoopy being durable. Inox way up there. Level 18 as well for him. 2 levels above everyone but Alltech on the enemy team.
Yeah, he's going to take a while to come up the lane, though, so we'll wait for another wave before EG shove in onto the inhibitor turret here. Now, C9T, for this team fight to go their way, it's going to be very difficult. They're going to have to catch somebody in a sort of split dive from EG. I think they just automatically have to give up this inhibitor. They cannot fight at an exposed inhibitor. They need tower damage to be able to turn anything in their favor right now.
And we'll see just how hard C9T press to fight. Wave clear comes in for a couple of ultimates, but it's going to be an early fight. Inox goes in, lands a stun onto Yuzuki. He's going to have to back off of this one. The man drop comes through, a hook towards Inox. 3-man shockwave crushes C9T's health bars. And you're seeing complete ownership now. Cloud9 is forced to run away. The inhibitor is completely EG's in a 5v4.
All right, so that should be middle turret here, as well as a second inhibitor. And with Soraka down, the team fight should definitely go in EG's favor. It looks like they have a commanding lead. Wow, they're going to go for all inhibitors. Not looking to end it. They actually want to destroy every little last bit of Cloud9 Tempest space.
And here comes the group of champions. 15 seconds on the Soraka respawn. Now comes the fight for the top inhibitor turret. Big damage comes through. That turret's going to fall. Oriana's going to put the team in. Kez just drops down where he stands. That's another kill picked up for Evil Geniuses. 17-5. 3 inhibs dead. Minions coming in right now from the mid and top lanes.
What a great start here for EG. Absolutely. In the best of 5. Coming out with a commanding performance in game 1.
And Nexus turret number 1 goes down. Nexus turret number 2 under fire. C9T still afraid to do battle there. Yuzuki stunned up, forced to run back. But that's going to be the Nexus going down. Evil Geniuses now 2 wins away from rejoining the North American LCS.